Hey kid, this one is called The King's Rubber Room, my favorite piece in the whole place, because it's where the story of the most evil king in history begins. Go on, get closer. Don't be shy. Whoa, you okay? I'm Leopold, but you can call me Leo. Anyway, bad time to be looking at paintings, my friend. It's not like it used to be around here in the late 1800s. Let me explain. So Europe is basically a bunch of countries playing a real-life game of Risk, except the map is Africa, and the game pieces are actual human beings. And the worst part is, nobody's even pretending it's fair. They're just drawing lines on a map with a crayon and saying, that's mine now. And everyone's got colonies. Britain has colonies, France has colonies, even tiny little Portugal has a whole empire. It was basically a competition to see who could paint the map the most shades of their own flag. But this guy, yeah, the one with the gigantic beard and the creepy little smile, that's King Leopold II of Belgium. And he has 0 colonies, none. And back then, that was like being the only kid in school without a smartphone. The insecurity was real. He'd probably stay up at night staring at his map, dripping with jealousy, like a guy scrolling Instagram seeing his friend's vacation photos while he's stuck at home with a bucket of chocolate and a crown that doesn't mean anything. So Leopold starts pestering everyone. He's basically that kid at a birthday party, watching someone else unwrap a gift, going, "Ooh, what about me? I want a colony too." But nobody's taking him seriously because Belgium is a tiny country that exists to be a buffer zone and make waffles. So Leopold decides, if they won't give me a colony, I'll con my way into one. And he pulls off maybe the greatest real estate scam in human history. We're talking tricks that would make a pyramid scheme blush. He sets up the International African Association, which sounds like a lovely charity group for saving orphans, right? He tells the world it's for humanitarian work, exploring rivers, ending the slave trade, spreading Christianity, all that nice stuff. And everyone believes him because why would a king with an epic beard lie? So in 1884, the big powers sit down at the Berlin Conference to carve up Africa like a Thanksgiving turkey. None of these guys had even been to the interior of Africa. They're pointing at a map, going, that blob looks nice, give it to me. And Leopold isn't there because he's so sneaky. He sends his smooth-talking representatives, and by the end, they hand him the whole Congo, an entire country. And not even as a Belgian colony, it's his personal private property. A nation of millions, and this one guy with a beard gets to own it. It's like going to an auction for a used bicycle and accidentally winning an entire continent. And everyone goes, what a nice man, he'll definitely take care of those poor Africans. Cue the slow-motion disaster. Inside the painting, you see Leopold waving from his palace in Belgium. Meanwhile, he never visits the Congo, not once, preferring to rule from a distance, mostly while eating chocolate. He'd get these reports about how many tons of rubber came in, and he'd just nod happily while peeling another truffle. The disconnect was so wide, you could park Belgium in it. So he creates the Force Publique, which, let's be real, he called the Force Publique, and he swears it's just a police force. But really, it's a private army of enforcers whose job is to make sure the Congolese produce rubber. You see, in the late 1800s, the world goes crazy for rubber. Bicycle tires, early cars, all of Europe is obsessed with bouncy things. And the Congo has vines full of wild rubber. So Leopold turns the place into a giant forced labor camp. He sets quotas for each village, and they were impossible. Like if your boss told you to collect 1,000 coffee cups from a forest that only had 10 trees. And if you didn't, people would come to your house and break your legs. That was the vibe. And when the villagers can't find enough rubber because, surprise, you can't squeeze rubber from trees like a juice box, the Force Publique shows up to have a little chat. And this is where evil gets a 3-piece suit. The Force Publique had a very, let's say, unique form of accounting. They had to prove bullets weren't wasted. So for every bullet fired, they demanded a severed right hand as a receipt. That's right, a hand. Could you imagine being the accountant who came up with that? We need a way to ensure ammunition isn't wasted. I know, right hands, it's foolproof. They called it proof that the bullet wasn't wasted on hunting antelope. And the soldiers would cut off hands while people were alive because, time is money. But wait, it gets more efficient. A lot of soldiers missed their targets. So they'd just walk into a village, do the chopping without firing a bullet, and bring back baskets of hands anyway. And these baskets would sit there, rotting, as proof of compliance. The smell must have been a wall of stench you could see. Smoke and hands. The system was running on smoke and hands. It's like the most horrifying customer loyalty program. Collect 10 hands and the 10th one doesn't count. But it wasn't a joke. The system was enforced with total brutality. Soldiers would raid villages, burn huts, take women and children as hostages to force men into the jungle to find rubber. Anyone who resisted was shot or had their hands cut off as a warning. Actually, nobody knows how many people died under Leopold's rule. Most estimates say around 10 million. 10 million. Basically, for every rubber band you've ever snapped in your life, there's a statistical ghost attached to it. That's like deleting the population of Belgium 3 times over. And also, this one bearded dude could buy more yachts and mistresses and build ridiculous palaces. So basically, people start catching on. A few missionaries and a guy named George Washington Williams, a real life ninja of journalism, start blowing the whistle. Then Edmund Morel and Roger Casement publish reports that prove the atrocities. And suddenly Leopold goes from beloved humanitarian to the man the whole world is side-eyeing really hard. And that's when the first global human rights campaign kind of got started, before we had that phrase. People were saying, hey, we shouldn't let kings turn countries into open-air slaughterhouses, just a thought. So what does he do? He burns all the evidence. He orders the Congo State Archives set on fire. That's 50 tons of documents turned to ash. You know your PR strategy is in shambles when the best idea is to create the world's most suspicious bonfire. Real subtle, Leo. In 1908, the Belgian government takes the Congo away from him. Not because they suddenly discovered morals, but because the stench of the scandal was contaminating their waffles. He dies a year later, still believing he did nothing wrong, the victim of fake news. And Congo becomes a Belgian colony, a slightly less hands-on version of the same nightmare. Anyway, look around you, mon ami. Rotting rubber, ghost hands reaching out of the mud, and an infinite scream. This painting is a historical record, so I wouldn't stare too long. Take this sticker of approval. May the Leopoldian gods of ethical accounting be with you. Bye, my friend. Oops. Oh, hey kid, I see you managed to get through that without puking. Good for you. You've got a stronger stomach than I do, and I'm a character in this nightmare museum. Like I said, the most evil king. Not the most evil dictator, not the most evil emperor, but a straight-up king with a crown and a silly sash and a belief that a place called the Congo Free State was free because of all the free labor he was using. The guy named it a free state. He must have had a PR genius on payroll. I can almost hear the pitch. Sire, we'll call it the Congo Free State. It costs nothing extra, and it sounds so free. That's like calling a prison an unrestricted movement facility. It's almost funny until you remember the severed hands. And the thing is, people today think being evil requires some grand supernatural hatred, like waking up every morning cackling maniacally and stroking a cat. But Leopold, he really liked money. That's it. He liked expensive parties and big gardens, and if he had to turn an entire region into a corpse factory to get them, that was just good business. He was basically a businessman, and his inventory was human misery. The profit margins were measured in severed hands. And with that, you're all set, my friend. The most evil king of all time video. Wait, this is the video? Well, that's confusing. But you know how these paintings work. Now all you gotta do is jump into the next painting on your screen. Click it, it'll take you right to the start of the next atrocity festival. Unless it's not there, of course. Then you'll have to imagine the horrific future content on your own. Meanwhile, I'll be trying to wash the vision of baskets full of hands out of my memory. Hey, see you soon, Mike.